All right, so now we just ask everybody that has a question to please raise their hand and wait to be acknowledged, and we'll go from there. Brian Mahoney there. Brian? Okay.
Phil, what kind of impact do you think you can make in this job? And do you have any kind of list of what the priorities are, what comes first, and as you come into this job?
I think that a big impact can be made by the situation I sit in and the authority I've been given. And that has to do with, how players are treated. I mentioned that in these talks. The kind of culture that's built. We've talked about those terms. The fact that we're going to have to go out and work the bushes for players this next year, and we're going to have to work them in the coming years as we go forward when we do get draft picks and we have a chance to build this team. And those are the things I think are really important to attract and to also ferret out players that want to play the type of ball that we want to exhibit here in Madison Square Garden.
Okay, Bubba back there.
Phil, Bruce Beck, WNBC TV, welcome back. How long will it take? I think that's the question the fans want to know. How long?
Well, we're not anticipating time. We're going to make one step at a time, and I think that's the most important thing. We're going to push this team, hopefully, and work into the playoffs this year and see how they really can compete and make decisions from there going forward. Who wants to play together? Who looks like they can play together? And how can we build on that? I think from there on, we'll just take a step at a time as we go forward.
Okay, Bud Mishkin.
Phil, you've always been known as an independent type who will speak his mind. For the last decade or so, the mantra here, unspoken or spoken, is pretty much the less said, the better. How do these two seemingly opposite cultures coexist?
Well, I'll try to monitor my blabbermouth, as my fiance Jeannie Buss says. That's gotten me a number of fines from the league office. I certainly don't want to get any more of those. But no, I really will hopefully have an open attitude towards speaking. But yet knowing that this is a position where at one time when I was asked if I ever wanted to be a general manager, I said, I hate prevarication. It's a term I don't like. And to prevaricate is something I don't want to have to do as a general manager. I'll leave that job up to Steve. I'm going to not lie, to tell you the truth, as president.
All right, Scott Soshnick there, Bloomberg.
Jim, it sounds as if perhaps you're letting go a little bit. Is that an accurate portrayal of what's going on here, that you're ceding authority to somebody else?
Willingly and gratefully, yeah.
All right. Richie Sandomir, did you have a question?
Phil,
yeah.
Sorry. Richard Sandomir, New York Times. Phil, how long a contract do you have, and do you have a prenuptial agreement?
I have a 5-year contract. My prenup with Jeannie obviously is important because as ownership of the Lakers, I certainly don't want to be involved in that now that I'm with the New York Knicks.
Besides, we married for love.
All right. Howard Beck there from Bleacher Report.
Phil, how are you? You've been out of the game for a couple of years, and I know there was a time when you never could have seen yourself in a front office role. Can you just give us a sense of what your motivation and just your kind of inner workings were that pushed you back into the game and obviously in a very different kind of role, and how you might attack that different role?
I think that's an important question, Beck, and I'll try to answer it the best of my ability. I went through a series of operations, 5, I think, over the past few years. Knees, hips, and other things. And as a process, I felt that if I came back to full health, that meant being able to play basketball again, that I would be an active life, go to England, look at these soccer clubs. I've had communications with a lot of the people over there. Go to Australia and see my old buddy Luke Longley, who likes the football they play over in Australia. and do the things that I tried to do in 2004 when I took a hiatus from the Laker job. However, I'm not going to play ball again, and I'm too old to play and too lame to coach. And as I started sitting, in this retirement for 2 years, doing recovery work, physical therapy, etc., people started coming to see me and just tapping into what they could learn or what they could find out or what could be part of what I could import to them. And last year, the Seattle anticipated franchise move never happened, and that was an interest to me at some level to go with that upstart franchise situation. Never happened, but I got intrigued in the idea of being in executive management position, and Jim came to me with this opportunity of pick a position you'd like to take, and I said, if I want to make this change, and I think I can make the change, I have to jump in with both feet. I got to move to New York, and I got to do this job the right way. Steve came, we had some dialogue, Steve and I, and since that time, Jim and Steve and I have had dialogue, and I think with his ability to know workings of the NBA, having been in the NBA offices, knowing all the crooks and crannies in that space, and also a relationship with agents that he's formed over the past couple of years, I think that we have a teamwork situation here that's going to be really quite swift and capable of making some important changes as we move forward. And I hope my vision can help stimulate that.
Okay, Ian Begley, ESPN.
Phil, what are your impressions of Carmelo Anthony, and do you see him as a player that you can center this rebuilding effort around?
No doubt. There's no doubt about Carmelo being one of the top scorers in the league, maybe the best individual isolation players in the game. I have no problems with committing to saying Carmelo is in the future plans. I think that there are a number of things I see Carmelo doing as he moves forward, and I said I think I was on record a year ago that I think Carmelo, as great a player as he is, still has another level he can go to, and I hope together with the team we create, he can get there.
Okay, Darren Rovell, ESPN.
Phil, how comfortable are you with being marketed? You look to your right and you have retro jersey tees over there, and there's a Adidas caricature shirt of you.
Well, my praise goes to the video corps that put together the video group here. They had to scour a lot of tape to probably get some highlights of me, I'll tell you that. I was on a team that, how many All-Stars did we have? 6, 7 All-Stars? Cassie Russell, Jerry Lucas, Walt, Earl, Bill, Dave DeBusschere, Willis Reed, so you can imagine there weren't a whole lot of shots for me, but we did play team ball, and it was important to us. And, the marketing aspect only brings back and ignites that relationship of the team going back and the relationship of these fans to this organization. Jim said to me one time, I think we have 6 generations of fans that come to our game. And so I know there's some people that saw me play that still come to the games. And we're looking forward to, embracing the past, but also moving forward for sure.
All right, Chris Broussard, ESPN.
Phil, just for clarification, one, I think you said earlier that you will move to New York as the president and live here. And 2, will you, if not insist, encourage whoever coaches the team going forward, whether Mike Woodson or someone else, will you encourage the use of the triangle?
Well, moving to New York is, a big challenge to me because last week it was 80 degrees in L.A. and I was looking out at the beach and the water out there that's in front of my house. It's beautiful. And coming to New York, was it 28 degrees yesterday when I landed, or 24? It's different. But there's an energy here that I always remember. It almost, gives you that feeling of, like being back here and being involved in this city. And, I think the players have to be part of this city. I think that's one of the things that made our Knicks team in the early 70s and late 60s really important to the fans in this town, is that we were part of the city. So,
Okay.
yes, it's important to me.
right?
I would educate anybody that wants to know the nuances of a triangle. You know, I coached it for 20 years, and it's one of the things that people do come to me and talk to me about. We've been relegated in triangle world to a lot of the women's teams now, the NCAA teams that use it. And, you know, it's been very effective. It's a simple offense, but it's still pretty logical and pretty practical in many ways. So it's not an insistence, but I do like to have a system. I like a method of playing basketball. I think there's a logical method of playing basketball in which, you know, there's a number of principles, and I gave Jim my 7 principles of a sound offense, you know, and I won't go through them here, but one of the principles are hit any of your 4 teammates, 3 offensive rebounders on the board, 2 defensive balance guys after a shot goes up. All these things are important to me in basketball, and, you know, enumerating those things, I think, make for a real solid team effort, both on offense and defense.